All right, so happy Juneteenth. So 2021, we've officially made Juneteenth a federal holiday. June is also Pride Month, and so there's a lot of discussion about different relationship or sexual orientations. And I'm glad to see that there was also some discussion on Pride, on autism. I have high functioning autism. It's hard to see from my videos and from what I do. But bordering on autism is the idea of being solosexual. I think there's a huge border between the two, being happily single. And unfortunately, it always gets left out of the Pride equation. We talk about LGBTQ. I always add an S for either single or solosexual. I prefer solosexual because I want it to be seen as a relationship or a sexual orientation. And I'm very happily solosexual, but unfortunately it gets left out of the equation. Early on in my career, I noticed that it was very difficult for me to schedule vacation or even schedule going home at my normal time, and I always had to fill in for all these odd situations that my peers would run into. I had a coworker who was pregnant. I think she had been working there for many years before I started, but she asked me if I would be willing to donate some of my vacation time to her, and she had been there for 2-3 years before me, and I didn't feel comfortable saying no, so I gave her half of a vacation day. Keep in mind, I just started. I only had like 2 or 3 vacation days at that point, so it felt like a big donation. And I thought, God, I've only been here a few months, and I'm already running into this. During the COVID-19 situation, I had coworkers who needed me to fill in for various things. One coworker outright got COVID-19. I had another coworker who couldn't get childcare because the babysitter had COVID-19. And I mean, she was working from home. She just didn't want the children screaming at the computer screens. I'm a professor, and I frantically have to study up on a subject that I've never taught before. I mean, I know it, but the computer science moves very fast. I'm teaching computer science, and I had to do a bunch of review. And she didn't, obviously, she didn't know all this was going on until like 2 days before the class. Oh my God, I can't find childcare. And not to say that wasn't important to her. I mean, certainly we don't want to embarrass the university with having children screaming in the computers. But I have my own set of problems too, and often I have to silently deal with them. One problem I had is, this is my first time admitting it, by the way, because this is a little bit personal. Before the pandemic, I used to have a boss who drove me crazy, not because it wasn't his fault, don't get me wrong, I have problems. He had a habit of speaking very, very slowly and very deliberately. And my mind would often race ahead of what he was saying. Oh my God, am I being fired? Oh my God, is something bad happening? And oftentimes, if I would have a 10-15 minute meeting with him, I would leave that meeting completely drained. I think one morning, I had a performance review with him. The review was pretty good. But I left his office completely drained. I went to my desk and I fell asleep. And just left a bad impression. And my boss asked me if I was okay. And I couldn't even tell him why I was so drained. There are some problems you can tell people, right? Oh my God, my kids kept me up all night. If you fall asleep at your desk because of that, you can tell your boss. I can't really tell my boss, I was so drained at the performance review because I was worried about being fired. And unfortunately, I don't get any leeway there, right? And that's what I meant by single lives matter. We have our own challenges, right? Just like you have challenges with childcare or getting COVID-19 or whatever, right? Anyway, happy Juneteenth, happy Pride Month, happy Solosexual Awareness Day. I call June 13th Solosexual Awareness Day because I had a very good solosexual experience a number of years ago on that day. Go watch my video from this June 13th. I talked more extensively about it